Welcome to the Full Later Life. My name is Martin and I'm here to encourage all of us to live a full later life. So whether you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s or even older, then you've come to the right place. Now I don't know about you, but over the years I've built up some deeply ingrained habits. Not exactly lazy, I'm pretty focused where I need to be. I just had a tendency to enjoy my R&R time a lot more than I needed to. You know, I got comfortable with the status quo, and I'm not talking about the British rock band from the 70s. I meant that I was just becoming a drifter. Okay, enough of the music references from a bygone era. You get the idea, I hope. And while I started a lot of new hobbies, interests and projects, I've also ended most of them with a resounding, not feeling it. Honestly, it was like I had a New Year's resolution that was never going to last every single week. You know, and in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that my main concern was, could I actually stay consistent with this new lifestyle? Because let's face it, I wasn't really in the habit of moving very much, unless the TV remote fell under the couch, and then I had to get off the couch and get on my hands and knees and crawl under them, my butt would stick out, and you really don't need that image in your head, so I'll move on. So I realized two things. One, I needed to find something fun, and two, I needed to find a community. And that was where the Doghouse Run Club came in. Now, to be honest, my first run in that old Led Zeppelin shirt felt less like Stairway to Heaven and more like a fast track to the afterlife. But you know what? The people there, they were incredible. And pretty soon I was looking forward to Tuesday nights, not just for the running, but for the social side too. And actually, I was also looking forward to the beer, but we'll get to that eventually. So anyway, I did actually end up joining a second running club at another brewery because, hey, running and beer, cardio and carbs. Need I say any more about that? But let's get real for a second. You know, for me, starting something is really easy. I'm actually fantastic at starting stuff. And I've started everything from going to the gym to doing projects in the house that my wife asked me to do 6 months ago and she's now on at me to finish them, or making a YouTube video. It's the finishing part that's the problem, except for the YouTube video. I mean, you guys are watching, so I guess I must have finished it, unless it cuts to black right now. Oh wait, you guys are still here, so yeah, okay, I guess I'll just have to keep going on with this because it's your valuable time that you're here listening to. So I better say, well, anyway, they say it takes from 3 to 6 weeks to break a habit, and I kind of feel like it might be never. I mean, let's just say my couch and I, we're kind of in this long-term relationship, and breaking up isn't easy. And even now, I've ran 2 marathons and a couple of century bike rides, and I still have too many days when I'd rather just dive deep into the YouTube rabbit hole and lace up my running shoes or grab my bike helmet. And somehow those snack breaks in front of a screen, well, guess what? They never involve kale. So what is it that keeps me going? Well, it's not sheer willpower. I mean, what willpower? I've tried that, and every time I come up short. It's the rewards, baby. Good old-fashioned rivalry, but with myself. You know, and on run clubs, the reward is kind of easy, you know, a cold beer, because let's be honest, an earned beer is the best beer. I mean, sure, I could just Uber to the pub on a Tuesday night, but drinking a pint after conquering a 5K with a Monster Hill, well, that pint practically sparkles with victory. But you know what, I really don't want every workout to end in a brewery tour, because unlike Bender from Futurama, humans are not fueled by alcohol alone, and so I started mixing it up a little bit. I'd plan runs to end at a coffee shop because nothing says wellness like chasing a rundown with a latte, and other times I'd reward myself by planning the route with a scenic view, or bike to the movies because popcorn tastes better when you pedal for it. I mean, science backs that up, I'm pretty sure. Eventually though, I realized I couldn't treat myself every single time, so now I kind of save the rewards for when I reach a goal. And speaking of goals, they also became a big part of staying consistent. Now my first goal was pretty simple. It was like run a 5K without needing someone to call the paramedics to resuscitate me halfway, or at least get to the finish line able to walk and talk somewhat normally. And a new friend at Running Club just gave me some of the best advice, and he said, you know what, just slow down because you're gonna be fine. And that was a game changer because I realized that I didn't have to sprint like I was being chased by a bear, I just had to keep moving. Although to be fair, if there really was a bear chasing me, no way was I gonna outrun it, or even the person in front of me, so I would have been the appetizer for sure. And then came Strava, and at first I thought it was some fancy yogurt you get in Erewhon that costs as much as a dinner at some celebrity chef's restaurant, but nah, it turns out that it's a social media app for exercise nerds. You track your runs, your rides, your activities, you give kudos, you get kudos, you can join challenges, kind of like Facebook for sweaty people really. And they say if it's not on Strava, then, well, it didn't happen, so naturally I had to log everything. And that digital pat on the back, well, that's addictive. I would sometimes log a short walk to Trader Joe's just to get some kudos, and there's no shame in doing that. And the beauty of setting goals, especially when you share them, is that it gamifies the whole thing. And the best part, your friends cheer you on. Well, unless they steal your local hero status, then it's war. Friendly war. All out war actually, but friendly war. No, really, it's friendly and all out. But seriously, if you're just starting out, just set a goal that's easy, like walk for 10 minutes longer than you usually do without collapsing, and then reward yourself, and then make the next goal just that little bit harder. Rinse and repeat, and before you know it, you're gonna be halfway up Everest. Okay, maybe you'll be up that hill that running club makes you struggle up every week, that everybody hates, but hey, a win's a win, right? Another secret weapon I found was accountability, and when I found my tribe, I found people who would check in with me. You know, not in a boot camp, drop and give me 20 kind of way, and if you don't do it, we can't be friends again, because after all, we're not full battle jacket conscripts.
You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up. Get on your feet.
More like, hey, haven't seen you in a bit. Want to grab a run? And then maybe a beer afterwards? See, told you it's all about the beer. You know, that gentle nudge makes all the difference. And sometimes we even sign up for events together, like a half marathon, because nothing bonds us collectively like questioning our life choices together at mile 9. But you know what? We all get those, nah, not feeling it days. You know, it's raining, it's freezing, it's 99 in the shade, or maybe you're just feeling lethargic and Netflix just dropped a new season of Stranger Things. Well, here's my trick. I remind myself that you've never regretted a workout after the fact. Never. Even if it's kind of short, awkward, or rain-soaked, it always feels better afterwards, and the hardest step is the one that takes you outside your own front door. Well, except maybe that step I had to take into the school principal's office that time when I was 10. You know, it really wasn't my fault, and I didn't do it, and nobody got hurt, and the zoo got their gorilla back, so no harm, no foul, right? And so the point being is that even if you don't feel like doing it, just do it anyway, because you won't regret it. Except of course in extreme dangerous weather like thunderstorms or wildfires, poor air quality, or temperatures so extreme that your local news reporter is demanding danger money just to be out there. You know, in those cases, please stay inside. You know, safety first. You're not training for the Hunger Games, and no amount of Strava kudos is worth a trip to the ER room, or even worse, the morgue. Well, another hurdle I had to clear personally was the I'm not really good enough at this mindset. And when I started running at 48, I was not natural at it. I was slower than a sloth of melatonin. You know, an imposter syndrome kicked in hard, and here's the truth. No one's good at anything the first time around. Everything takes practice. None of us become great at our jobs or hobbies overnight, well, except for that one good-looking surfer dude with long blonde hair who's just natural at everything he does, and it puts us all to shame. But you know what? Screw that guy. But for the rest of us, why would this be any different? And finally, and this is the big one, make it fun. Join a group of people you love being around and celebrate your wins. Turn your struggles into stories and laugh at your stumbles. Dance at your finish lines, even if you're last. In fact, especially if you're last. You know what? Sometimes you're gonna love an activity right away, and sometimes you will just find a tiny spark buried there somewhere in the pain. But even if there is even one moment of joy, then hold on to it and don't give up, because that might just be the gateway into starting something life-changing. So once again, I really want to thank you all for joining me on this journey of living a full and active later life. You know, drop a comment with your tips, your struggles, or maybe your latest excuse for skipping out and staying home. We've all got a few, and there's no judgment here. So let's support each other, and maybe your stories might help encourage somebody else who is watching this right now. And hey, if you enjoyed this content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. And while you're at it, remember to live fully, move often, and don't trust a light job until it's all over.